You know how sometimes you're reading a story and some tiny little detail just jumps out at you? Something that feels, well, way too specific to be an accident. Today, we're going to dive into one of the most amazing numerical mysteries out there. It's been hiding in plain sight for 2,000 years, and I'm talking about the secret of the 153 fish.
All right, so let's set the scene. Imagine you're on the Sea of Galilee. It's super early in the morning. Jesus' disciples, who are, expert fishermen, they've been out all night long and caught absolutely nothing. Zip. They're tired, they're frustrated, and then this guy on the shore, they don't even know who he is yet, tells them, hey, try casting your net on the other side of the boat. So they do it, and bam, the net is suddenly so jam-packed with fish they can't even pull it in.
Now, what's so wild about this is that it's not the only fishing miracle in the Gospels. But if you put this story from the Gospel of John right next to an earlier one from Luke, the differences just pop. See, in Luke's telling, they catch a great number of fish, and the net actually starts to break under the weight. But here, in John's account, it's exactly 153 fish, and the net, it doesn't even tear, not a single thread.
And that right there, that's the heart of the mystery. Why 153? I mean, why not a round number like 150, or just a ton of fish? When you see that kind of crazy precision in an ancient text, it's like the author is holding up a giant neon sign that says, hey, pay attention, look closer, right? That doesn't sound like a fisherman just guessing the number. It sounds like a clue.
So you might be wondering, who were the first people to try and solve this thing? Well, you have to go all the way back to the early Christian thinkers, the guys we now call the Church Fathers. For them, this wasn't just some random number. No way. They saw it as a deeply profound symbol. You could say they were the original detectives on this case.
And one of the most brilliant minds of that whole era was St. Augustine. And when he looked at this number, he didn't just shrug it off as a minor detail. He actually called it a great mystery. He was totally convinced it was a key to unlocking some much, much deeper spiritual truth.
And Augustine wasn't the only one thinking about this. You had other heavy hitters, like St. Jerome. His theory was that, based on the zoology of the day, there were 153 known species of fish in the world, so the catch symbolized gathering every single type of person from every nation. Then you have Cyril of Alexandria, and he saw it as a kind of demographic code, 100 representing the Gentiles, 50 for the people of Israel, and 3 for the Trinity, which holds everything together.
But Augustine, his theory was something else. It was this beautiful blend of theology and mathematics. He thought the other guys were missing something, a deeper layer. He said, look, the real key here isn't 153 itself. It's the number that creates it. And for him, that number was 17.
Okay, so why 17? Well, Augustine's logic goes like this. 17 is what you get when you add 10 and 7. And for him, 10 symbolized the law, the 10 Commandments, and 7 represented grace, the 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit. In his whole theological framework, you needed both the law and grace to be saved. So, 10 plus 7, that gives you 17, this incredibly significant number.
And this is where Augustine delivers his masterstroke. He says, okay, take that super important number, 17. Now, start adding up all the whole numbers from 1 all the way up to 17. So you go 1 plus 2 plus 3, you keep going all the way to 17. And when you get to the end, the grand total is?
Exactly 153. For Augustine, this was just brilliant. It showed how combining law and grace, that number 17, symbolically pulls in everyone who is saved. So the catch of 153 fish, it wasn't random at all. It was the complete final tally of God's people.
Okay, so the theology is super deep, right? But believe it or not, the story doesn't end there, not even close. Because this is where the mystery takes a really wild turn. Forget symbolism for a second and just look at the number itself. Because it turns out that 153 as well, mathematically, it's just plain weird. So, 153 is part of this very exclusive, very strange club of numbers. They're called narcissistic numbers. Now, I know the definition sounds a little complicated, but it's actually got this really cool kind of poetic quality to it. Let me show you how it works. All right, here's the breakdown. Take the digits of 153. You've got a 1, a 5, and a 3. Okay? Since there are 3 digits in the number, you raise each of those digits to the third power. You cube them. So, 1 cubed is just 1. 5 cubed is 125, and 3 cubed is 27. Now for the magic part. Add those results together. 1 plus 125 plus 27 equals 153. The number is literally the sum of its own parts. I mean, how cool is that?
And the math weirdness just keeps on coming.
It's also what some people call a numerical attractor, or even a mathematical black hole. This is going to blow your mind. Take any number you can think of, as long as it's divisible by 3. Now sum the cubes of its digits. Whatever number you get, do the same thing again and again. It doesn't matter what number you start with. If you just keep repeating that process, you will always, inevitably, end up at 153.
So, let's recap. We've got deep theology, and we've got some seriously bizarre math. But hang on, because there's a third layer to this ancient detective story. And this one involves a linguistic code, something hidden in the original languages of the text itself.
Okay, so back in the ancient world, both Hebrew and Greek didn't have separate symbols for numbers like we do. Their letters also doubled as numbers. This system is called gematria, and what it meant was that writers could embed these incredible numerical patterns and secret meanings right into the words of a text. It was a totally common literary tool back then.
So what happens when we apply this ancient code to our mystery? Well, get this. If you take the Hebrew phrase Beni Ha-Elohim, which means sons of God, and you add up the numerical value of every single letter, what do you think you get? Yep, the total is exactly 153. All of a sudden, that catch of fish becomes this powerful metaphor for gathering the sons of God from the chaos of the world. But wait, if you thought that was cool, this next part is where it gets absolutely mind-blowing. Let's go way back to a prophecy in the Old Testament, in the book of Ezekiel, written centuries before the Gospels. The prophet has this vision of a river teeming with life, and he says fishermen will spread their nets between two very specific places, a town called En-Gedi and another called En-Eglaim. Now, using gematria, the numerical value of the name En-Gedi is 17, and the value for En-Eglaim, you guessed it, it's 153. That exact same 17 to 153 mathematical pattern that Augustine figured out, it was right there encoded in this ancient prophecy all along.
Okay, let's just take a breath. All these clues, from theology, from math, from language, from ancient prophecy, they're just incredible. But there is one final piece to this puzzle, and this one comes from a modern scholar named Richard Bauckham. And his idea suggests that 153 isn't just a symbol in one single story. He thinks it's a key to the structure of the entire book.
So what Bauckham did was analyze the word frequencies in the original Greek version of the Gospel of John, and what he found points to a literary design that is, honestly, it's just staggering. It looks like the author intentionally wove that very same 17-153 pattern into the very vocabulary of the book.
His discovery was just astonishing. Get this, the Greek word for sign, as in a miracle, it appears exactly 17 times in the book. Then he took 3 words that basically sum up the whole point of the gospel: believe, Christ, and life. And if you count up every single time those 3 key words appear, the grand total is exactly 153. It's like the story of the fish at the end is a secret signature, a little miniature blueprint for the entire book.
So, after all that, which theory is the right one? Is it Augustine's theology, the weird math, the Hebrew code? The beautiful thing is, maybe they all are. Maybe this isn't about finding one single correct answer. Maybe the point is that this one number, 153, is this incredible nexus point. It's a spot where history, theology, pure mathematics, and prophecy all crash together into one amazing multi-layered symbol. For me, the real takeaway here is just that feeling of wonder. The idea that one single, seemingly random number can be packed with so many intricate layers of meaning. And that really just leaves you with one last question, right? If this one number can hold all of this, what other little hidden stories, what other insignificant-looking details in the world all around us are just waiting for us to notice them?